Hey, welcome back to another episode of Historic Headstones in Norfolk. I just want to put a warning label on this video. We're going to be talking about some sensitive things about slavery. We're going to be talking about William W. Hall, the slave jail. So that'll give you an idea of what we're going to be talking about. I think due to current events and, the marches for civil rights and stuff, I think this is an important topic to talk about right now. You cannot forget your past when you're trying to build a better future. So let's go ahead and get started. I just want to give you guys a warning. This is a sensitive topic. All right, William W. Hall. He died in 1874. This is his mausoleum. As you can tell, William W. Hall's on top. That's his son over there, and then random family members here. He was a well-known man here in Norfolk before the Civil War. He was a slave owner and owned one of the busiest slave jails here in Norfolk. Where Harbor Park now sits is where the slave ships used to dock to drop off or receive slaves. If you want to know more about the history of that area, you can contact Troy over at Sargent Memorial Cemetery. He's actually writing a book about that area. You can talk to him if you need more details. The city's slave trade began in late 1700s and is really took off when tobacco prices dropped and mid-Atlantic states were left with surplus of slave labor. When the slave was unloaded from the ship, many were taken to a slave jail, and that was usually located no more than a few blocks from Harbor Park. Most imprisoned slaves ended up in the hands of William Hall, whose two-story jail was close to where Norfolk City Hall sits today. It is located on Union Street, where the sheriff's office is now located, or roughly near there. Slaves were crammed together and often fed rancid meat and were probably chained inside their cells, their wrists and ankles rubbed raw by the metal. Hall's jail had separate rooms for men and women. Each room had a tank for storing water and a tap for slaves to drink from. His jail could hold up to 50 slaves at a time. There was not much sun, and many slept in their own filth, so the smell was horrid. The conditions were awful. There was a large yard and high walls that guaranteed the most ample security for safekeeping, according to one advertisement in the paper. Basically, this guy owned a jail where they put slaves in and they were treated subhuman. This is the type of man he is. I know usually I don't give my opinions on tours, but something like this I'm going to. In addition to holding slaves for other owners, he kept a stock of healthy slaves on hand for purchase or trade. The highest cash market prices given for both sexes at the time. He advertised Hall's second business was slave auction, which was held at Commercial Street a few blocks from the jail. That is where the statue is, and that's where the statue was removed yesterday. That's exactly right there at that spot where they sold slaves. That statue was not put there by accident. It was symbolic. So you guys, take that as you need. They were taken to a shop and dressed in fine clothes and marched to a raised platform underhang along Market Street on Main Street. Up to 25 people were auctioned at the time. The Norfolk crowd was usually a small group of traders with offices down the street, looking to buy slaves they could ship down to New Orleans at a big markup. There is a gentleman here called Captain Bissell. He's also buried in his cemetery. He's over 2nd Alley West. He's got a stone over there, and he was a captain who ferried slaves from here to New Orleans, and it made him a lot of money. Once they were in a line, their clothes were stripped off so they can be inspected. Families were often split up. These slave auctions were held where the city's Confederate monument now is, like I said earlier. William H. Hall ran the slave jail until the fall of Norfolk in 1862, which put him out of business, thank God. By the end of the war, his fortune was gone. Elderly and sick, he worked to rebuild it by turning the jail into a livery or a place to sell horses. He died in 1874 at the age of 76. Obituary said he was one of the city's wealthiest, kindest, and generous citizens in the city. All right. No one was better known, and certainly none had a large number of warmly attached friends, reads his obituary. Kindest, well, he's not kind. What he did to so many other human beings is horrible. He was not a good man. He was not kind. He was not generous. He often had them whipped if they disobeyed. It was bad. This guy was not a nice gentleman. And I just want to let you guys know about the bad history of Norfolk. We talk about a lot of the good things like inventions, medical discoveries, things like that. But today we are talking about things, bad parts of Norfolk history that people need to remember so these mistakes never happen again, and I'm doing that today. And I think talking about William Hall's story tells people how bad African Americans had it back then, and how people like this gentleman ruin lives every day. All right, guys, sorry about this sensitive topic, but I think it's important that we talk about this right now. All right, guys, have a good day, and we'll see you at the next episode.